Welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, July 17, 2017. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. President of the St. Vincent and Grenadines Union of Teachers, the SVG-TU, Oswald Robinson, believes that teachers of the country should utilize the skills they have gained from the annual Summer Institute program more in their classrooms. Robinson, who was addressing participants at the opening of a two-week training seminar at the Peace Memorial Hall, called on all teachers to do justice to the efforts of the union, which he says has been trying to ensure that their members are well trained. Robinson said the seminar is being held in conjunction with the Canadian Teachers Federation and the Ministry of Education, and that there will be a concentration on technical vocational education and inclusive education.
Punctuality, regularity to work. I'm not satisfied that from the fruits of this workshop, we are really seeing the majority of our teachers going back to the classroom and really implementing what you're being taught over the years. And I want to use this opportunity really to challenge you to do justice to the efforts that we put in over the years, and especially this year. It's a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of planning. My treasurer, he works night and day. The course director has been interfacing with the Canadian team leader through email, telephone calls. It's a lot of hard work. The teachers union executive would have to meet and plan, and sometimes we have to miss our workplaces because we work voluntarily. And we are doing this for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the children of this blessed land. Because we want our students, our Vincentian students, to be global citizens.
The Teachers Union president also called on educators to share their knowledge with others so that the overall performance of students will be enhanced.
We believe that every single child can learn, but every child will learn at his or her own pace. And we are appealing to the teachers to go back, share the information. Don't just keep it to yourself and build up your archives and the materials that you will get over the years. Somebody said knowledge kept is knowledge wasted. You have to share the knowledge so that we could have the Cascadian model being executed.
With an investment of 17 to 20% of government expenditure going into education, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Maureen Williams, pointed out that government has continually demonstrated its commitments to the development of the nation's human resource through education.
This substantial investment in education is hoped to provide greater access to education for all Vincentians, from early learners to adult learners. The intention is to develop our island's human resources through the sustainable provision of quality learning opportunities for all, in order to equip our young people with the required values, attitudes, levels of skills and knowledge necessary for creating and maintaining a productive, innovative, and harmonious society.
Team leader of the Canadian Teachers Federation, Robert McKay, pledged his team's devotion to sharing their knowledge and expressed anticipation to learning more about the Vincentian culture.
I assure you that we will work hard, along with our Venetian co-tutors, to offer the very best professional development to the people here today. We, the Canadians, are coming to understand some of the issues you face now: universal access to education, inadequate facilities, limited resources and materials, as well as the lack of rigorous ongoing teacher development and career opportunities. And we are anxious to share our Canadian expertise while also learning about your struggles and successes. Together, we will work towards a common goal of quality public-funded education for all students, where we will leave no students behind. Together over the next 2 weeks, we will learn, laugh, and maybe I can sharpen up and a few dance skills for the Connect Canada Day. Thank you for welcoming us, and as you would say in St. Vincent, bless up in your journey.
This country must find new and innovative ways to ensure funding to tackle infectious diseases that affect Vincentians, as well as develop ways to teach the populace the value of responsible behavior. That's the view of medical practitioner Dr. Wayne Murray as he spoke on Magic 103.7's Sunday Brunch program, discussing issues relating to various diseases in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
One says, Dr. Murray, you know, this is how it goes. In your NIS payment is $350 a month. You will now have to make a payment of $350 plus $5, so $355. That $5 is going into a fund which everybody will be paying, and that money will go in towards the management and to ensure that HIV is controlled. I mean, I couldn't tell you no. What that will do, because the truth and fact is that, you know, your diabetes may not come back directly to haunt me, but your HIV, which we don't treat and control, could come back to me or to my children tomorrow or the day after. So it is an investment into our very existence. But politicians don't do that. They will not tell you that let's organize to get $2 or $3 from every NIS payment towards sustaining to control infectious diseases that can affect us.
Dr. Murray added that institutions such as the church and the school can be instrumental in fighting diseases, adding that they should receive much greater funding.
We need to ensure that we attack all our health problems at the cubicle, which is consistent. It doesn't matter which political party is in office, the church and the school will be there. And that is where the work so that's where all the funding, that's where all, I mean, for instance, we had some money from one of the, don't know if it was USAID or one of these agencies, and then you saw a few SUVs driving around with HIV units on it, and people were off to Switzerland every other day. Someone leaving St. Vincent to go to Switzerland for a 2-day meeting and all this kind of stuff. You're traveling for 5 days to go for a 2-day meeting when you can look at it on Skype or you can get the minutes. No, the monies are used up to do that. And when all that money is used up to do nonsense, the people whom should be impacted on, 1/10 of the money goes to them, and there is no contingency plan.
The medical practitioner further stated that a solution to the spread of the HIV/AIDS virus in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is to teach the populace the benefits of responsible behavior.
This is the way how we this is really truly, you know, how we're going to stop these, because believe me, something will come again, and then we'll have to deal with it. If you have something like HIV, you say, fine, I have it, I will not transfer it to anybody else, but I will live a good life, and then eventually when I pass, my contribution to the world is that I did not give it to somebody else. That is how we're going to treat. It's the behavior, it's our behavior that has to change, not a cure. Everybody says, is there a cure for AIDS yet? Is there? No, but there's a cure for behavior. The cure for behavior states that we must be responsible as individuals. We should come on the earth. We should enjoy it. We should, if we procreate, we should leave somebody as good as or as better as ourselves. But we should not leave something which then contributes to the in detriment of the future.
Questions are being asked here as to why Opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday was not given the opportunity to address Vincentians at the annual Vinci Unity Day celebration in Canada over the weekend, but Minister of Health Luke Brown was accommodated. Speaking on Boom FM this morning, Member of Parliament for West Kingstown Daniel Cummings expressed the view that there is too much divisive politics associated with such events. Cummings claims the Consul General to Canada for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Fitzhuggins, might have had a say in preventing the leader of the opposition from speaking at the function.
But here you have somebody, Luke Brown, who has not been able to pass muster as a politician, but he can pass muster as a Minister of Health and addressing a crowd. And I wonder what he told the crowd about the healthcare system in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But the leader of the opposition, who rightly ought to be the leader of this country because the election was stolen, beyond the shadow of a doubt. He cannot be allowed to speak because Ralph Gonsalves can't come up. So Dr. Friday could come, but he must not be allowed. But that is the politics of Ralph Gonsalves. That is how he functions. And the surrogates, the field slaves, the house slaves, cannot understand that despite calling this thing a unity function, all they see is red. And at any cost, Dr. Friday must not be allowed to speak. That's all that happened, Bing. Plain and simple.
Consul General Huggins vigorously denied being instructed by anyone to prevent Dr. Friday from addressing the gathering of over 10,000 at the celebratory event.
He was invited to speak and he should have been allowed to speak. But let me to ask me a question like that up front, I would like to set what I do here as a basis for how I operate.
Okay, go ahead.
Since I've become the Consul General in Toronto, I don't think anyone could watch me or watch you in your face and say I've in any way played politics with my job. I serve the people regardless of what color they wear, and I do not see politics in my job. A lot of people could attest to that. That's the first point. Secondly, this picnic was organized several years ago, maybe over 20 years ago, and it's always been called a unity picnic. Several suggestions that people are saying unity is a new name. It's not a new name. The unity means, from my understanding, the committees in Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa came together and decided to have this picnic to attract Vincentians from all across Canada and the U.S. I do not get involved in the internal management or even internal meetings or internal decisions of any of these groups. I have it as a policy. If you invite me to a meeting, I will attend. I will make a statement if they want me to make a statement, and I will recuse myself when decisions are being made and discussions about the management and running of every group. And they know that that is how I function as a policy.
There is room for both the traditional and feather mask in SVG. This was according to Hugh Raggett, the chairman of the Carnival Bands Association, as he spoke on NBC Radio Views on Issues program on Sunday as the panel discussed activities in the recently concluded 2017 Vincy Mass celebrations. Raggett said whilst there are those who believe that the traditional mass is the only art form that qualifies as mass, one must come to the realization that the taste of the populace is changing, and added that there is room for both.
Coming together of the old and the new. This could happen. I think last year when we had Mirage Productions, they had a feather mass. But if you looked carefully, and sometimes I wonder what certain people see. But last year, Mirage Productions, they had a feather band. But if you looked at it, you could have seen the creative way in which that presentation was done. And I felt they deserve a lot better than they got in the final analysis. And if we could continue with this sort of trend, if Mirage returns and they continue to develop what they started in 2016, our masquerade is going to continue its upward trend.
Speaking on issues in relation to the development of Steel Pan was Roddy Dowers, the captain of the Starlift Steel Orchestra, who expressed disappointment that there were only 3 community and 4 school bands taking part in this year's Panorama competition, adding that if there's no development at the junior level, there will be implications for the art form's continuity. Dowers appeals for a proper support structure to aid in this aspect.
But we need to have the support structure in place with these bands. It's all well and good. You have the students wanting to play, you have the instruments there, and the whole purpose is to try and get the kids to play the pan, get them off the street, reduce the crime. Fine, I love that. But the support structure in terms of someone to keep the students there, someone assigned to these bands, was and still is necessary. Otherwise than that, we'll have, right now what we have is only 2 They have Symphonics and Humala, I think. Southeast are probably the only two that were in competition this year from the Pan Against Crime bands. So
well they had a few in the juniors though. Sandy Bay.
We have like Georgetown, Canawan, and I think there was one in Mespo or something. But it's just that I would like to see more structure, something more supportive, some sort of support structure being put in place for these bands.
Also speaking on the program was the Carnival Development Corporation's shows coordinator Anthony Denny, who said despite challenges, the idea of having the mass component in Little Tokyo this year was an excellent idea, which yielded much success.
What I can say to you is, yes, there were lots of persons were in Tokyo, and that's one of the area that the CDC is very, very happy about, and that person just immediately came off the streets and came into Little Tokyo. As a matter of fact, there was a particular time, I think it was about a 45 minutes lull, where some of the bands were backed up on the streets, and persons would have left Little Tokyo to go on the outside to have a look at what was happening. And from the time those bands came in, you could have hardly found a space, especially on the seaside. Persons, persons just encroached the area, as a matter of fact. And that even brought into to the whole thing, the whole matter of security. We need to look at that if we're going to go back to Tokyo next year. Initially, there were questions as to why Tokyo. It needs cleaning up. Well, the CDC did the work that it had to do, and I think the CB appreciated, the mass bands and the masqueraders certainly appreciated, and we had a successful event. Persons did come out to witness it.
Parents across St. Vincent and the Grenadines are being encouraged to enroll their children in summer educational programs. This as the SVG Coast Guard launched its annual Youth Summer Program today. Speaking with SVG-TV News was leading seaman Alexis Bino, who said the program will be done in 3 phases and described what activities the participants were engaged in on opening day today.
This morning, our Youth Development Summer Program begins, which is phase 1. It has 3 different phases, phase 1, 2, and 3. Right, phase 1 begins today. Our topic that we cover during the program are substance abuse, conflict resolution, navigation, seamanship, boat handling, leadership development, knots and splice, human sexuality, treasure hunt, first aid, non-communicable disease, swimming, and it's ended off with a picnic for the students.
Bino encouraged parents to enroll their children in the Coast Guard's program, which he says is geared towards their positive development.
I just want to encourage parents that you can send out your kids to the program. It's a very interesting program. It's having it for 24 years now, and it's very productive. It's basically to get our youths off the street and teach them positive things and make positive decisions within their life. The theme for the program is Shaping Our Youths for Life High Seas.
Meanwhile, SVG-TV News team also caught up with 2 participants who expressed elation at the opportunity to take part in the Coast Guard's summer program.
Karim Lucas, came to the Coast Guard program. I hope it's an educational program, and I hope that more youths come out next year to learn from it.
And I am Afia Marshall, and I'm looking forward to, at the end of this program, being able to swim, because I can't swim. And yes, I urge youths to come out and enjoy and, yeah, make friends. Thank you.
As part of its month of prayer, the Harvest Bible Chapel has taken to capital city Kingston to pray for people. The prayer session was mounted today outside the old Treasury building. Senior Pastor Al Blake said that prayer is a powerful tool that could be used in breaking hindrances and gives people a peace that God is their comforter. The Reverend also pointed out that they're excited about the move of God over this land and claimed healing and favor for this country. He, however, called on Vincentians to seek the face of God.
God has placed something on our heart that we want to bless the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines with. So we are on an endeavor right now that's called Pray in the City. And as people walk by, we are just asking them if we can pray for them and bless them and support them in that way. So we count this a privilege as a church to just be able to give back to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines the most powerful gift that we can give to them, and that is the power of of prayer. So we are passionate about this, we are excited about this, and very, very fired up to see what God will do through this, because the book of James in the Bible tells us that the effective fervent prayer of a righteous person has great power as it is working. And the Bible also says that if my people, that's us Christians who are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then would I hear from heaven, forgive their sins and heal their lands. And we want to see St. Vincent and the Grenadines blessed through the power of prayer.
Pastor Calden Charles said prayer sessions will continue later in the week, noting that on Wednesday they will be at Massey Store at Arnisvale and on Friday at Little Tokyo.
Praying for Vincentians from all works of life. We believe firmly in the power of prayer. We call it unceasing prayer, and we want persons to know that God answers prayer. And so right now we're on these grounds really praying for people and really crying out to God for a supernatural breakthrough for their marriages, for their finances, for their children, for their homes, and we're just trusting God to do great and mighty things. And then on Wednesday we're going to be at Massey's in Arnisvale and Friday at Little Tokyo. We want you to come out, be a part of this prayer movement that God is stirring the fire in our hearts.